You don't need a $20,000 Ducati or a hyper-modern BMW to own a motorcycle that lasts forever. In fact, some of the longest living, most bulletproof bikes on the planet cost less than your smartphone. These are the motorcycles that refuse to die. They don't care if you skip a service interval, drop them on gravel, or ride through a monsoon with a half-torn spark plug. They'll still get you home. And mechanics, they hate these bikes, because they never break down. From rugged trail beaters to reliable street commuters to obscure imports and machines built for third world survival, this list is packed with 25 secret cheap motorcycles that will outlive your car, laptop, and maybe even your riding days. Some you've heard of, others you'll be shocked they exist. Oh, and the last bike on this list is so reliable that people pass it on to their grandkids. So get ready, your next forever bike might just be waiting somewhere on this list. Number 25, Kawasaki CT100. The CT100 is one of those bikes that you might not even recognize if you live in the US, but in places like India, Nigeria, and the Philippines, it's a street king. This 99.27cc single-cylinder commuter is the go-to bike for people who ride every single day, on terrible roads, in insane traffic, and still need to show up for work on time. It's ultra-light, incredibly fuel-efficient at over 95 miles per gallon, and literally designed to be abused. The maintenance is as basic as it gets. All you need is a spark plug, oil, chain, and tires. That's it. You could probably take one apart with just a screwdriver and a good attitude. And while it may not look flashy, the CT100 has proven to run well past 50,000 kilometers with minimal upkeep. It's not built to impress, it's built to endure. Mechanics barely make money off these because they rarely break. And if they do, the cost of repair is so cheap that your bank account wouldn't even notice. Plus, parts are super cheap and readily available. You can grab one new for around $650 to $800, and even cheaper on the used market if you're in the right region. I don't know how Kawasaki pulled off making such a cheap and reliable bike, but that doesn't matter because they made it possible for people with low income to enjoy a riding experience like no other. Number 24. The Motorstar Nis 110 is one of those bikes you hear about from your cousin's neighbor who swears it's the most underrated thing on two wheels. It's technically classified as an underbone motorcycle, a fancy way of saying it's a scooter motorcycle hybrid designed for commuting and pure practicality. It's small, automatic or semi-automatic, and dead simple. Its 110cc engine is air-cooled and not meant to win races, but it sips fuel like a grandma drinks tea, slow, steady, and hardly ever empty. You can run this thing daily, even in third world traffic madness, and it'll happily keep on humming. Here's the kicker, it's so simple that it rarely breaks down, and when it does, mechanics laugh. Parts are dirt cheap and repairs are straightforward. Think of it as the motorcycle version of those old Nokia phones. It's not flashy, but it just won't break. As for the price, the Nis 110 costs around $680, making it one of the most affordable bikes on this list. Number 23. The Honda CG125 is the motorcycle equivalent of a cockroach with a work ethic. Introduced in the 70s, this thing was designed not in Japan, but in Brazil, for one simple reason: to survive harsh environments where skilled mechanics and fancy tools don't exist. Honda basically asks, what if we made a bike so simple that even a farmer with a hammer could fix it? The result was a 124cc OHV engine, not even an OHV like most modern bikes. Why? Because OHV engines have fewer moving parts, longer service intervals, and are more tolerant of abuse and poor quality oil. It's a low revving thumper that just keeps thumping. No radiators, no fancy electronics, no nonsense. In parts of the world where motorcycles are the economy, like rural Asia, Africa, South America, the CG125 is the go-to bike. Delivery riders, commuters, police forces, and villagers have ridden these bikes for decades. Some units have over 100,000 kilometers on them with only basic maintenance. You can literally kickstart it with your slipper and a bad attitude. Even better, you can rebuild an entire CG125 from scratch using aftermarket parts from any local market. Piston? $2. Clutch? $5. It's so cheap to keep running, it's almost unfair. You can find a used Honda CG125 anywhere from $700 to $1,200, depending on condition and location. Some are held together by rust and hope, and they still run. Number 22. The Honda Navi might just be the cheapest way to get on a brand new motorcycle in the US. And yes, it's technically a motorcycle, even though it's built on a scooter platform. It looks funky, like someone smushed a mini dirt bike and a ruckus together, but don't be fooled, it's an urban commuter beast. It uses a 110cc automatic engine, meaning you don't even have to shift gears. Just twist the throttle and go. It's like riding a bike with cheat codes enabled. Great for beginners, commuters, or literally anyone tired of paying for gas. You won't be winning any drag races, but you'll be spending next to nothing on fuel and maintenance. It's got enough Honda DNA in it to outlive most cats. You can drop it, scrape it, or store it in a closet for a year, and it'll still start up and say, let's ride. As for the price, it costs around $2,000, which is pretty decent considering the fact that you're buying a workhorse that never breaks down. 21. Now here's a true wildcard, the MZ Scorpion. Ever heard of it? Probably not, but for the few in-the-know riders who've owned one, it's a hidden gem. Motorrad Works Japao was a German brand that partnered with Yamaha in the 90s to create something weird, wonderful, and wildly durable. The Scorpion uses a Yamaha 660cc single-cylinder engine, which is practically unkillable. It was tuned for torque and simplicity, meaning it's a thumper with low-end grunt that's built to go the distance. The chassis was light, the geometry was sharp, and it even came with a few configurations like Tour, Sport, and Traveler. But here's where it's nuts. The reliability is on par with Yamaha's best dual sports. People have put these things through the ringer, and they just keep going. It's the kind of bike you find once in a blue moon, buy for cheap, and keep forever because nobody else knows how awesome it is. Used Scorpions can still be found for $2 to $3 grand, though you'll need to keep your eye on classified ads or vintage listings. It's rare, but not impossible to get. Number 20. The Honda Grom isn't just a motorcycle, it's a rolling meme, a street-legal toy that's secretly a training machine in disguise. With a 125cc single-cylinder engine, it looks like something a cartoon character would ride, but don't let that fool you. This thing is rough. Riders have pushed it across thousands of miles, commuted daily, wheelied the life out of it, and it still keeps coming back like a loyal dog that wants more abuse. It gets 100 plus miles per gallon, weighs barely over 225 pounds, and has a massive aftermarket scene. You can mod it to look like a mini sport bike or stretch it like a dragster. And despite being thrashed by 17-year-olds doing wheelies in parking lots, most Groms just refuse to die. It's also a Honda, so you know the parts are reliable and easy to get. Plus, it's hilarious. You'll get thumbs up from kids, nods from grown bikers, and confused stares from pedestrians who aren't sure if you're a biker or just really late for middle school. Price-wise, the Grom costs around $3,600 brand new, or about $2 to $3 grand used. Number 19. Kawasaki W650. If someone took a vintage Triumph Bonneville and said let's build this the right way, they'd end up with the Kawasaki W650. This thing oozes 1960s cafe racer charm, chrome, spoked wheels, round headlight, but beneath the surface is a masterclass in Japanese engineering. At the heart is a 676cc air-cooled parallel twin with a unique bevel drive camshaft that looks like it belongs in a watch factory. It's simple, mechanical, and bulletproof. No overcomplication, no pointless electronics, just solid craftsmanship and buttery smooth power delivery. But out of everything, what I really like about the W650 is how dependable it is over the long haul. Owners have racked up 60,000 plus miles with little more than a regular oil change and valve check. It's easy to maintain, easy to ride, and has the kind of build quality that makes you feel like it'll outlive you. Unfortunately, they don't sell huge numbers in the US, so finding one can take a bit of digging, but they're worth it. Prices tend to range from $3,500 to $5,000 used, depending on condition and how many hipsters already tried to turn it into a brat bike, but it's definitely worth giving it a try. Number 18. Yes, the Honda Super Cub made this list. This bike is the literal definition of cheap and lasts forever. First introduced in 1958, it's been in production ever since. Over 100 million units sold worldwide. That's not just motorcycle success, that's human civilization levels of success. It runs a tiny 109cc air-cooled single-cylinder engine that can run on practically anything short of cooking oil. It's quiet, fuel-efficient, and it was built to be operated by people who have never touched a motorcycle before. In some parts of the world, people ride these things for decades, sometimes passing them down like family heirlooms. The Super Cub is incredibly simple. Minimal electronics, semi-automatic transmission, low-speed handling that even a golden retriever could manage. And with how many are out there, spare parts are basically free. Brand new Super Cubs go for about $3,900, and used ones, especially older models, can be found for $1,000 to $2,500 if you're in the right place. It might be small, but it's possibly the most legendary machine on this list. Number 17. If you asked a mechanic what motorcycle they'd buy on a tight budget, chances are the Suzuki GS500 would pop up somewhere in the conversation, usually followed by a knowing nod. This thing is the definition of no frills, just an air-cooled 487cc parallel twin that refuses to die. It's like a Toyota Corolla in motorcycle form. It won't impress anyone at bike night, but it'll start every morning and take you wherever you need to go. What made this bike such a cult classic was its perfect balance between beginner friendliness and actual usefulness. It's lightweight, predictable, and super easy to wrench on, even if you're more of a YouTube mechanic than a certified one. There's no fancy electronics to fail, no over-engineering to confuse you, just reliable components and a chassis that does what it's told. Owners regularly brag about pushing past 50,000 miles on stock engines with nothing more than basic oil changes and valve checks. And the best part? These bikes are everywhere. You can find parts dirt cheap, and plenty of them have already been de-restricted or upgraded slightly by previous owners. You can usually find a GS500 in decent running condition for around $4,250, and at that price, it's almost criminal how much reliability you're getting. Number 16. The Honda Monkey is a modern revival of one of Honda's most iconic small bikes, and it's packing way more character than you'd expect from something this tiny. Underneath its retro styling, it shares the same 124cc engine as the Grom, but wrapped in a throwback design that turns heads and starts conversations wherever it goes. Despite the name and size, this is no joke. The build quality is top tier, the frame is sturdy, and it rides like a real motorcycle. It even comes with inverted front forks and disc brakes, which is more than some full-size bikes can say. And like the Grom, it's incredibly mod-friendly. People slap aftermarket pipes, shocks, bars, even turbo kits on these things just because they can. But even in stock form, it's reliable as they come, with some riders putting 20,000 plus miles on their Monkeys without issue. The Monkey costs $4,400, which is super cheap for the amount of reliability it offers. It's one of those bikes that makes you smile every time you look at it, and it doesn't mind being ridden hard or stored in weird places. Number 15. Chinese motorcycles get a lot of hate, and to be fair, some of it's deserved. But the Zong Shen RE3 is part of a new wave of surprisingly solid Chinese-built machines. This cruiser-styled 400cc twin has earned respect in Asian, African, and South American markets for one big reason: it doesn't break. Zongshen partnered with Norton and Piaggio in the past, and that engineering influence shows. The RE3's design is clean, the engine is well balanced, and the bike doesn't feel like a knockoff. It's a legit cruiser with decent torque, a soft ride, and low-end power that's perfect for casual riding or light commuting. What really sets it apart is durability. Owners in developing countries run these bikes thousands of miles on rough roads, with little more than chain maintenance and oil changes. It's also incredibly affordable for what you're getting: a twin-cylinder engine, decent build quality, and long-term reliability. The RE3 typically sells for around $4,500 brand new, and used ones can drop below $2,500. For a stylish cruiser that won't complain even if you ride it through dust storms and pothole cities, that's a deal. Number 14. The Royal Enfield Classic 350 brings that World War II era motorcycle aesthetic, but don't be fooled, it's been fully upgraded under the skin. This thing has grown from its clunky past into a reliable street-friendly thumper that oozes character while staying tough as nails. It runs a 349cc air and oil-cooled single-cylinder engine with modern fuel injection and a healthy dose of torque. It's not built for high speed, it's built to cruise, hum steadily, and keep going no matter how rough the road or how long the ride. Royal Enfield's recent updates have made a world of difference in reliability. The newer Classic 350s are smoother, easier to maintain, and much better built. Riders are reporting 30 to 50,000 kilometers of smooth operation with just routine service, and it still has that old-school kickstand and T vibe that just makes you feel cool. New models start around $4,600, and in the used market you'll find them between $2,500 and $4,000 depending on year and condition. It's cheap and reliable, a combination you'll hardly ever find in a Royal Enfield bike. 13. The V-Star 250 looks like a baby Harley that accidentally wandered into the wrong biker bar, but that's part of the charm. It's a proper cruiser with legit style, chrome, fat tires and all, but scaled down for new riders or anyone who just wants a no-nonsense bike to ride without selling a kidney. It's powered by a 249cc air-cooled V-twin engine. Yep, a real V-twin in a small package. The thing is basically bulletproof thanks to its extremely low-stress engine. Owners have been clocking 40,000 plus miles on these things without major problems. It's light, predictable, and you can actually do highway speeds without feeling like the engine's gonna explode. Best part? You get the cruiser look and feel without the cruiser weight. And unlike some big bikes that need a back room full of computers just to reset a check engine light, the V-Star 250 is wrench-friendly and easy to fix on your own. And you don't have to bother about the price, as the bike costs around $4,800 brand new. Number 12. Honda Rebel 300. Don't be fooled by the approachable vibe. The Rebel 300 may be a starter bike on paper, but under the surface, it's built like a veteran. Honda took the tried and tested 286cc single-cylinder engine from the CRF 250L and CB 300R and put it into a cruiser frame designed for comfort, ease of use, and absolute dependability. Why does it last? Because Honda did what Honda always does. They over-engineered the hell out of something small and made it easy to own. The engine is liquid-cooled, fuel-injected, and extremely under-stressed. It rarely overheats, almost never complains, and will happily keep chugging as long as you give it fresh oil and occasional attention. The Rebel 300 is also insanely easy to ride. Low seat height, friendly power delivery, and a relaxed riding position make it perfect for new riders, but experienced ones love it too, especially for commuting and casual weekend rides. Want to teach someone how to ride? This is the bike you loan them. Want something you can store in the garage all winter and fire up without stress in spring? Yep, this is it. There are Rebel 300s with 50,000 plus miles that have never seen a mechanic outside of regular service. It's as reliable as gravity and nearly as common. Brand new Rebels start at $4,800, and used ones even with low mileage typically go for $3,200 to $4,000. The value per mile is ridiculous. Number 11. Now we're getting into modern territory, but don't worry, the Yamaha MT03 still fits the bill as one of the most low-maintenance dependable bikes in the entry-level Street Fighter game. It's the kind of bike that says, yeah, I'm small, but I can still mess you up in the twisties. Powered by a 321cc liquid-cooled parallel twin, the same engine found in the R3, this bike offers a smooth ride, strong mid-range punch, and enough grunt to comfortably cruise at highway speeds. It's got an upright seating position that makes it great for commuting, and it's light enough for new riders to handle without sweating through their jacket. The real magic with the MT03 is how little it asks from you in return. You just change the oil, check the chain, and it keeps going. Even if you treat it like a budget beater, it still behaves like a premium product. Yamaha nailed the quality on this one. A brand new MT03 will run you about $5,000, but you can easily find used ones in great shape for around $3,200 to $4,000. Not bad for a bike that looks like a baby Street Fighter and rides like it's been doing this forever. Number 10. Now here's a bike that doesn't get nearly the respect it deserves. The GSX250R is a chill commuter wrapped in sport bike clothing. While it doesn't have the speed or flash of its more aggressive cousins, it makes up for it in one big way. It just works. All the time. This 248cc twin-cylinder machine is tuned for smoothness and ease of use. It's not built for racing, it's built for surviving traffic, soaking up daily abuse, and doing it all without a single complaint. It's a great pick for someone who wants something that looks fast, but's gentle enough to learn on and reliable enough to keep for years. Maintenance? Cake. Repairs? Cheap. Reliability? Suzuki's been doing small displacement bikes for decades, and this one follows the same recipe. Keep it simple, make it last. Prices on the GSX250R sit around $5,000 new, and used ones can be picked up for $2,800 to $3,800. You'll be hard-pressed to find a more dependable, stylish little workhorse at that price. Number 9. You've seen them. Chunky balloon tires, fat seat, tiny stance, the TWW200 looks like a cartoon, but it's secretly one of the most rugged and lovable bikes ever made. This thing has been virtually unchanged since the 1980s, and for good reason. Yamaha got it right the first time. Its 196cc air-cooled engine is about as advanced as a lawnmower motor, and that's exactly why it lasts. Less complexity means fewer failures, and those big tires, they're not just for looks. They float over soft terrain like sand and mud, making the TWW200 a favorite among hunters, farmers, and off-grid riders. It's not fast, like at all, but it's reliable, fun, and incredibly forgiving. You can beat on it for years, change the oil once in a while, and it'll just keep chugging. TW owners are like a cult. Once you have one, you never want to get rid of it. A brand new TW200 comes in around $5,000, but used ones from any year, and I mean any year, can be found for $2,500 to $4,000. Number 8. The Kawasaki Z400 is like that sibling with the shaved head and piercings. It shares the same bulletproof 399cc engine as the Ninja, but strips away the fairings and dials up the Street Fighter vibes. You get that same awesome performance, smooth power delivery, light handling, and with an upright riding position that's perfect for daily use. The Z400 is super comfortable for city riding and surprisingly capable on the highway. The minimal design also means fewer parts to replace if you drop it, and if we're to be honest, new riders drop their bikes a lot. I mean, I did. The Z400 is lighter, easier to service, and just as dependable as its sport bike sibling. The best thing? Despite looking modern and aggressive, it doesn't cost you your paycheck in maintenance. The engine's under stress, oil changes are easy, and the parts are cheap and widely available. It's a motorcycle you can ride hard and still rely on. You can grab a Z400 for around $5,400 brand new, or find used ones floating between $3,000 and $4,000 depending on mileage and condition. And because it's Kawasaki, parts are cheap and readily available, so you don't have to worry about anything else other than riding your bike. Number 7. The Yamaha XT225, popularly known as the Ciro, is one of those bikes that quietly builds a cult following while flying completely under the radar. Designed as a lightweight dual sport, this thing was built to crawl up rocky trails, navigate jungle roads, or commute through pothole-plagued cities without ever letting you down. It runs a humble 223cc air-cooled single-cylinder engine, but don't let the numbers fool you. This engine is tuned for low-end torque, and combined with the bike's feather-light frame and ultra-low first gear, the XT225 climbs like a mountain goat. Riders who take these things off-road swear by its agility and simplicity. There's no ABS, no ride modes, no digital fluff, just a throttle, some old-school suspension, and that good old Yamaha reliability. The XT225 has been used by farmers, trail riders, overlanders, and even forest rangers, and it's common to see them with 40,000 to 60,000 miles on the clock with nothing more than basic oil and filter changes. The simplicity of the air-cooled engine and the ease of maintenance makes it a go-to for riders who want to wrench their own bike without needing a service manual written by NASA. Used XT225s typically go for $5,500 to $3,500, and if you find one in decent shape, grab it, because people who own them rarely sell them unless they're upgrading to the newer XT250, which is also excellent, by the way. Number 6. The Honda CRF 300L is like that quiet guy in class who turns out to be a black belt, unassuming, humble, but wildly capable. It's built for light adventure and dual sport riding, meaning you can commute during the week and disappear down a dirt road on the weekend without swapping bikes. It runs a liquid-cooled 286cc single-cylinder engine, which may sound small on paper, but it punches way above its weight class. It's lightweight, agile, and surprisingly comfortable for longer rides. Plus, you don't need a pit crew to keep it running. Valve checks are spaced out reasonably, and the engine is so reliable it practically begs you to abuse it. The CRF 300L thrives in places where most bikes would give up. Dirt, gravel, potholes, deep puddles, it doesn't care. And when you finally do drop it, because it will happen, it just shrugs it off and keeps going. It's simple, tough, and full of that classic Honda don't worry about it, I've got this attitude. Price-wise, a brand new CRF 300L will cost you around $5,700, while used models hover in the $4,500 to $5,000 range, depending on farkles and mileage. Number 5. If motorcycles had a survival apocalypse game, the Suzuki DR200S would be the last one left standing. This thing is about as basic as it gets. No fancy ride modes, no TFT screens, just one job. Start and go. It's a lightweight dual sport with a 199cc air-cooled single-cylinder engine that could probably survive a nuclear event. The DR200S doesn't pretend to be fast, but it's agile, dependable, and insanely efficient, getting up to 88 miles per gallon in real-world riding. It's the kind of bike you can literally drop, pick up, and keep riding like nothing happened. Everything on it is accessible and easy to repair, which makes it a favorite for rural commuters, new riders, and folks who just want a no-stress machine. It's also great for learning to wrench, because almost everything is mechanical and visible. No hidden panels, no mystery bolts, just good old-fashioned simplicity. And even with years of abuse, these bikes just keep going. You can score a brand new DR200S for around $6,000, and used ones float between $2,800 and $4,000, depending on how much dirt they've eaten. Number 4. Forget everything you thought you knew about Royal Enfield from 15 years ago. The INT 650 or Interceptor is a whole new beast. One that actually behaves like a properly engineered motorcycle while still keeping that old school charm. It packs a 648cc air and oil cooled parallel twin, tuned for smooth torque and mellow cruising. The chassis was developed with help from Harris Performance, the same folks who build race bike frames, and the result is a bike that rides better than its price tag would ever suggest. It's not just retro for the sake of it, it's a genuinely solid daily rider. People use them for commuting, Sunday cruising, even light touring. Maintenance is simple, parts are affordable, and the engine? It's been proven to hold up beautifully with proper care. There are riders out there hitting 40 to 50,000 miles with no major issues, which is kind of wild at this price point. New INT 650s go for around $6,200, but lightly used ones often drop into the $4,000 to $5,000 range. For a brand new looking classic twin, that's a steal. Number 3. Kawasaki Ninja 400 is one of those rare bikes that manages to please everyone. Beginners love it for the manageable power and forgiving handling. Experienced riders love it because it can keep up in the corners, and mechanics love it because they barely ever see one in the shop, unless it's for tires or oil changes. With a 399cc twin-cylinder engine, this bike delivers way more performance than you'd expect, especially in the lower and mid-range. It'll cruise at 70 miles per hour all day without breaking a sweat, and even has enough bite to embarrass bigger bikes in the hands of a skilled rider. And let's talk reliability. This thing is built like a tank. The cooling system is efficient, the engine is nearly unkillable, and the build quality is classic Kawasaki. Owners routinely rack up 40,000 plus miles without any major failures. It's not uncommon to see these things track-ridden and still running strong years later. A new Ninja 400 sits at around $7,000, but if you're hunting for value, the used market is your friend. You can snag one in solid condition for $3,500 to $4,500. Number 2. The Suzuki DR650 is what happens when you take a chainsaw, give it wheels, and teach it how to shrug off abuse. This bike is legendary among dual sport riders and off-grid travelers for one reason: it doesn't care what you throw at it. It runs a big air and oil cooled 644cc single-cylinder engine, a thumper that's been around since the dinosaurs. No water cooling to leak, no complicated electronics to glitch out in the middle of nowhere. The frame is overbuilt, the power is enough to cruise at 80 miles per hour on the highway and still dig through sand or mud with ease. The DR650 doesn't win style points, and it doesn't have ride modes, but it has one huge advantage: simplicity. It's carbureted. It's steel framed. You can drop it 20 times and it'll still start. Adventure riders love it because you can strap 100 pounds of gear on it, ride across a desert, fall off a cliff, pick it up and keep going. It just works. There are documented DR650s out there with 70 to 100,000 miles on the original motor. Valve adjustments are easy. Oil changes take minutes. It's the bike you want when you're 500 miles from the nearest town and the GPS stopped working. Brand new DR650s go for around $7,200, but you can regularly score clean used ones for $4,000 to $5,000, often with useful mods like skid plates, racks, or suspension upgrades. Number 1. Taking our top spot is the Kawasaki KLR 650. You don't just ride this bike, you live with it. It's not just a motorcycle, it's a lifestyle. The KLR isn't fast, it's not sleek, but it is indestructible. Overland travelers swear by it, mechanics tip their hats to it, and Reddit threads are full of stories like I crashed into a rock, zip-tied the radiator, and still made it 400 miles. Its 652cc single-cylinder engine is famously long-lasting. Liquid-cooled, sure, but the cooling system is dead simple and reliable. It'll cruise on the highway, bounce through mountain trails, and carry everything from camping gear to spare tires. You want a two-wheeled pack mule? This is it. Pre-2022 had carburetors, which some purists love for their simplicity. Newer models have fuel injection and even USB ports, but the core spirit hasn't changed. This is the bike people take from Alaska to Argentina. And it's not unusual to hear about KLRs crossing the 80,000 mile mark on stock engines. It's easy to fix, rugged enough to survive drops, and just uncomplicated in a way that makes you trust it. Is it pretty? Not really, but it's the kind of ugly that grows on you when it never lets you down. New KLR 650s go for around $7,800, but older models are a goldmine. You'll regularly find pre-loved KLRs for $3,000 to $5,000, often outfitted for long-distance riding. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. See you in the next one.